Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Kozak, and I am an assistant clinical professor in the School of Education at Drexel University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This video is aimed at K-12 educators who may be new to teaching online. At Drexel University, I teach all of my graduate courses in an online asynchronous environment. And the difference between asynchronous and synchronous is in an asynchronous environment, I post all the content, the assignments, and everything else that the students need to see into a learning platform. And in my case, I use Blackboard. And the students can access the course material anytime during the week or during the term that they need to. I can set dates and times for when things are available or not available. A synchronous environment would be if we were engaging in the teaching learning environment in a face-to-face via online environment. In that case, the class might be scheduled from 10 to 12 on Monday and Wednesday, and the students would log in and I would log in and we would engage in a face-to-face. Due to the nature of the courses I teach and the students being from different parts of the country, an asynchronous environment works better. Today, I'm going to focus on several different aspects of different strategies to use in an online environment. We're going to look at how to use a whiteboard in Zoom, how to change your background in Zoom to create a virtual background. I'm also going to show you how to share your screen in Zoom. Other platforms that you may use, Google Hangouts, FaceTime, I'm sure they have very similar features. But the platform I'm using today is Zoom. So you can take the ideas and just transfer it to whatever platform that you are comfortable using. I'm also going to be discussing how I structure my 10-week term so that if you're in a K-12 environment and you want to plan out the quarter, this might hopefully provide some insight on how to do that. I'm going to show you some multiple sites online, educational sites that you can use with your students. And finally, I'm going to show you how to provide voice feedback, audio, and if you want, video feedback for your students so that when they open up their graded assignment, they can hear your voice and see your picture or your video, which I'm sure they will be delighted. So let's start first with showing you the whiteboard feature. In the share screen down at the bottom of the Zoom, if you click on share screen, there's a section that comes up. It's called Whiteboard. And I've clicked on Whiteboard and I've clicked share. Okay, and at this point now, the whiteboard is visible and I can do a number of different things. I can spotlight, I can provide a stamp, I can draw. There's all different things that you can do with here, but today I'm just going to use the text feature. And the text feature shows up on the screen as you can see, and I'm going to put today for the agenda, we're going to show the whiteboard and share screen and etc. And I can continue to do that. So that is the whiteboard feature. And again, if you want to change something, you can use the eraser and just erase that. And it will erase whatever you put on there. Okay, so now I'm going to stop share for that. And the next thing I want to show you is if you're teaching from your home or another environment and you want to change the background, you can go over to the video icon at the bottom of the screen, and there is a little somewhat of an arrow next to that. You click on that and it'll bring up that you can choose a virtual background. So there are several default backgrounds that they provide. You could also upload your own. There is a plus sign over there if you want to add an image or a video. So I'm going to pick one that I like. And this is a nice soothing kind of beach background. So if you want to pretend like you're teaching from the tropics, you can use this background or whatever background that you would like to use. Okay, within this background now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to share my screen. So if you want to show something to your students, or you want your students to show something to you, if you are in a class meeting and you have maybe 5 students, which, by the way, if you're working with younger students in the lower elementary, besides your morning meeting, I would recommend that maybe you break out sessions into groups of 5 or 8 to make it more manageable and schedule them throughout the day. Upper elementary, middle school, and high school is a little different, and you can maybe meet with the whole class or provide them with an asynchronous environment. But if I want to share my screen, there's a share screen icon at the bottom, and I click on that. And now it brings up all the screens that I have showing on my laptop. And I'm going to pick this one. And what I have pulled up is a course that I had taught during the last term. And I just want to give you a brief overview to show you how I set the course up. Now, I understand that if you're using Canvas or Schoology or another platform, that it may look a little different, but basically I think the features are pretty much the same. So the first thing that came up is something called announcements. And this is what I use one of the ways I use to communicate with the students in my class. And this goes out as an email, and it also appears in the Blackboard course shell. So scrolling backwards, it's in current to reverse order. Shows that March 26th, I put out a thank you for a great term, talked about some of the things that we did. I had an announcement for all classes back in week 10. And then as I scroll down, you can see that I had announcements. I put lots of links in my announcements. If something comes up, especially current events that I think that they would benefit from, or extra reading material, something that I think will benefit them, I post them in my discussion or in my announcements. Over on the other side, on my left side, I'm going to go to week 1, and I won't go through every single week, but I'll take you through a couple of the weeks. All of my weeks have an essential question because I use an understanding by design framework, and I'm kind of thinking backwards. What do I want the students to know and be able to do by the end of the term? And then basically, what do I need to do? How do I need to structure the course to make sure that they get there? So there's an essential question. I put a learning goal for the week. Reading material, I upload different material that they can read, as well as if they have a textbook. I asked my students each of them to upload a 2-minute or less introductory video. This allows everyone in the class to see one another, and you can ask them to talk about something they like, or anything at all that you want. The discussion board is an area where the students can respond to a prompt that I may put on the discussion board to hopefully instill critical thinking with my students. And once I put the prompt up, each student has to respond to that prompt, and they have to go on to their colleague or their classmates' discussion board and post a comment on their discussion board prompt or their response. And this keeps it as an active learning community, so that students get to read each other's answers, they get to comment on it. And as a teacher, you can set that up any way that you want. You can have them comment on these discussions, but this to me, or you can not have them comment. This to me is the equivalent of having an in-person discussion in your classroom, or a dialogue where there's an exchange of ideas. Students hear what other students are thinking. They get to add their own input and hopefully contribute to a very rich learning environment. Week 2, again, learning goals for the week, an essential question, reading, discussion board prompt, a little cartoon that's put on there just to lighten things up. Week 3, pretty much the same, except now in week 3 is an assessment. Now, this is at a college level, so the assessments are done a little differently than perhaps you would use in a K-12 environment. But this assessment was a paper that students had to complete, and they knew about this for a couple of weeks, and it's all on assessment literacy. And again, I try to make the course material an experiential learning environment for the students, in that they get to use their course material in their work environment. They get to apply it. So I want them to be, theory into practice. I want them to be able to apply what they are learning into their work environment, so that it hopefully becomes part of their toolbox that they'll be able to use throughout their career. So that's just a quick overview of the 10-week term. Again, each platform has different features that you can use, and it's really beyond this video for me to go into any more depth of this or any of the others. There are plenty of other videos out there on Canvas and Schoology and other types of learning platforms. A lot of educational sites are available to K-12 and higher education faculty, and I'm going to scroll through a few of them. Some of them you may be familiar with, and some of them may be brand new. So, just bear with me if you've already seen some of these. The first is, this is from Zoom, and this is just a short video background or tutorial of how to create a virtual background in Zoom. The next is, this is PBS, and PBS, Public Broadcasting System, they offer a lot of different resources that you can use with your students. For instance, there are content videos on different content areas such as social studies, English language arts, science, the arts. There's a section on preschool and even more. There's also, they have an award-winning series and various collections that are available. So I recommend that site. Another site which many K-12 educators are familiar with is Class Dojo. And one of the things about Class Dojo is that you want to continue to communicate with your parents. It's important that your parents understand what you're doing. Many of your parents, if not all, are juggling their career and working with their children at home and trying to help them with their schoolwork and make sure that they attend the online lessons or whatever other structure that they have to attend to. So, a quick communication with your parents on an ongoing basis would probably be very helpful to the parents of your children. Another very popular site is Kahoot, and you can use this to create, to share, to do a number of different things in an educational environment. There's also Edmodo, and this site, if it loads, is also another valuable site, there we go, for working with your students. And there's sections there for if you're a teacher, for the students, and again, for the parents. Again, very important. We don't want to forget our parents, who are our partners. So many different areas of Edmodo that you can use, and just a couple more. We have, of course, Khan Academy, and that is just a wealth of information. It's free. There are a lot of different content areas covered. It's great for K-12 and higher ed. There are many, many resources within Khan Academy. The We Are Teachers is a great site. And again, educational videos for teachers. They have different sections in here already set up in content areas: government and politics, history of democracy, ancient history, middle school videos. They have high school videos. So again, another great resource for you to use with your students. And finally, for today, the TED Talks. Now, this is TED Talks for schools, and this particular TED Talk that I pulled up is a TEDx. So this is more of a regional or locally designed TED Talk, and the editor gives you a note that it's filmed independently of TED, but they share it on their platform. This particular presentation is talking about, from Catherine Caldwell, talking about students leading the classroom, not the teachers. And I think that's a very good video. And lastly, sharing feedback if you want to create audio or video feedback. So this course that I have created is called a sandbox, and this is an area where I can practice things within Blackboard to try them out before I try it with any of the students. And in this situation, I just uploaded a document from one of my other courses. It's one of the announcements that I put out, but I'm showing it as if it was a student who had submitted an assignment. And in Blackboard, you pull it up when you grade it within the gradebook area. And there's a section that says feedback to learner. And that's where I can type in whatever I would like, and put something in there. But I can also, there's an icon down here where I can click on this. And again, it's sure very similar to other platforms. If I click on that, it brings up a different area where I can provide audio feedback. So I'm going to just take you through a little bit, and it says insert recording. If I click on that, that opens up an area here where I have the ability to record some feedback for the student. And that's where it says ready to record. And there is an area at the bottom where I can actually start recording. It gives me a countdown, 5, 3, 2, 1. And I can start saying, Michael, that was a very nice assignment you presented. I would like you to take a look at the second paragraph where I'm looking at the transition that you're using between the second and third paragraph. And you can add in whatever you want. Again, you can include video, and then it stops recording. And if I save that, then that I did save and exit, and now that becomes an audio file that your student will hear when he or she opens up their grading and they want to see what kind of grade or feedback you provided to them. All right, at this point, I'm going to stop share. So this concludes the video. Again, my name is Dr. Michael Kozak. I'm an assistant clinical professor at the School of Education at Drexel University. And I encourage you to visit the Drexel University website, specifically the School of Education website. And there are many resources on the website that you can use for yourself. If you're interested in continuing your education, certainly there's a lot of information that you can find about that, as well as there's information that you can use for in your classroom with your students. You can also look at the other colleges within Drexel University, Engineering School, School of Computing and Informatics, and other colleges and schools within the university. So I hope you found this information valuable, and I wish you the best as you engage in your online learning environment. Take care.